Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. In this 40-minute talk, we'll be learning about cybersecurity and how it can affect us, as well as our clients and our lives in general. So let's start with something that surprised me in my preparation for this seminar. Did you know the Philippines ranks among the most attacked countries worldwide for web threats last 2022? What do you think our rank was? Can you guess? Apparently, we were the second most attacked country last year, according to CyberSecured Network Solution. So cyber threats come in various forms. From phishing attacks, identity theft, to data breaches, these can cause severe harm to your professional reputation and client relationships. As real estate brokers, we might be targeted with specific threats. For example, a fraudster might pose as a prospective buyer and send a phishing email with a malicious attachment. So may mga nabanggit na ako na terms dyan, and yan yung aralan natin today. But first, let's start with phishing. So phishing with a PH in a nutshell is when fraudsters try to phish for your sensitive information by mimicking real organizations. They trick you into clicking a link that goes to the fake login and have you type your username and password. You can get phished by email, by SMS, by direct links, or by social media. With SMS or smishing, the rule of thumb is pretty simple. Don't click the link, even if you know the sender, and especially if you didn't sign up anywhere or join any raffle. So let's watch the video for a few more tips on smishing. This one is from UOB, a bank in Singapore. Okay. For emails, it's a bit more complex. In the earlier days of the internet, it was easier to spot phishing attempts on email since they were somehow obviously fake. Like they had wrong spelling, different style and formatting, etc. Today, they're much closer to the real thing. As in, halos kopyang-kopya na nila lahat. Kumbaga, nag-level up na din yung mga phishers, so dapat tayo din, mag-level up sa defense. Let's use Gmail as example. So at first glance, everything looks like it's from Union Bank, right? And then you see something like new login from Union Bank, eh hindi ka naman nag-login. So when you read something like this, our first instinct is to sort of panic. Hala, nahack ba ako? Shit, reset password ko na. Wake up po tayo. Don't panic, dyan tayo pwedeng madali. First, let's go back to our email. Hover your mouse over the button. So, like this. Hover only, do not click. So your arrow cursor will usually change into a pointer. And when it does, a bar below will appear, showing you the link of the button. And this is true for all links and buttons sa mga website. You just hover over it and mag-appear itong black bar with the complete link. And from there, you will see na if something is fishy. So, nalagay natin dito, very obvious, no? Scam ito, KKK. Pero, it won't always be this obvious. Sometimes yung spelling niya, sobrang hindi mo makikita. Like, small letter L yung gamit instead of I, or dalawa yung I, etc. Diyan pa lang, dapat vigilant na tayo. Next, back link. May final test pa tayo for this. Ito naman medyo may pagka-technical na, pero don't worry, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So on the right side, you will see 3 dots. So you click on these three dots to reveal more. There will be a drop down. So you click on Show Original. You will see something like this. Numbers, code, what is that? Okay, don't panic. Huwag tayo matakot or ma-overwhelm. Super simple lang naman ito. We just have to look at these three things. First is received SPF failed. If we fail yung received SPF, that's red flag number 1. Second is different from address. Earlier, diba, nakita natin na galing kay Union Bank yung email. But dito sa from, iba na siya. So, red flag number 2. And third, again, different yung return path from the sender earlier. That's your red flag number 3. So, with these, alam na natin na most probably, scam itong email. Pero, bakit gano'n? Paano ba siya nangyari na gano'n? How is it that ganito yung lumalabas sa from and return path, pero iba yung nakalagay sa email? This type of technique is called spoofing. And spoofing is a forgery technique that changes the display name and or yung email address. That's spoofing. And paano ba nila ito ginagamit? So, there are so many ways of using spoofing. They can pretend to be one of these usual things that we trust. First, yung banks, as I showed you earlier, or other companies you regularly interact with, like yung software, yung tools nyo, or yung social media. Like Facebook, kunwari galing sa Facebook, sa Instagram, sa YouTube, etc. Then there's the potential client. And finally, KKK. Kapamilya, kamag-anak, kaibigan, and dagdag natin, kaopisina, kasi yun yung pinaka-dangerous. But first, let's talk about what they can do when a fraudster gets your trust. So first, we already discussed yung phishing. It's when they will trick you into clicking a link where you'll log in to go to their fake page from a fake website or even a fake app. From there, whatever you input, they will steal and use in the real site. Malware naman is different. It's when they will trick you into downloading or opening an attachment. And from there, they can inject malicious software, kaya tinatawag na malware. Now, these malware can track your keystrokes when you type sa keyboard mo to get your password, or even insert a program that can give them backdoor access for viewing, saving, and even modifying your files and systems. The dangerous thing about malware is that it can lie dormant and attack at any time. Kala mo, safe ka kasi walang nangyari, yun pala. Hindi ka safe. The third one naman is ransomware. It's a form of malware that locks you out of your own system, so fraudsters can demand payments for them. So imagine that, ninakawan ka na, hiningan ka pa ng pera para ibalik lang yun sa'yo. That's ransomware. Last is the malware. Again, it's a form of malware, but the delivery is more crafty na parang advertisement siya. Kaya malware, parang malvertising. We see this in dirty sites like with pirated stuff. Okay, yung mga may bold, ganyan. Tapos, bigla na lang magkakaroon ng pop-up. Pero, even in non-dirty sites, kahit sa social media, for example, makakita ka na ganyan like with fake coupons, fake raffles, etc. So, mag-click ka sa maling video sa Facebook. O kaya, mapindot mo yung maling button na nag-download na. And instantly, pwede ka na mag-unknowingly install the malware. Kaya dapat, ingat-ingat tayo sa mga click. So earlier, I mentioned that KKK was the most dangerous, particularly si kaopisina. And this is because the other attacks usually target an individual's assets alone. When it comes to your coworkers, hackers only need to infiltrate one individual, and the malware can already spread into the entire company system. So this one is an example of how creative the hackers have become. As you can see, this was just last August 7, and the hackers tricked only one employee into downloading software during a fake job interview. Sabi nila, he will need it to complete a technical task. So, syempre, ikaw na hindi mo alam na fake pala yung job interview. Pag sinabing mag-download ka, ida-download mo. Ayan, nakapasok mo siya. The malicious code gave the hackers access to Coinbase's infrastructure. And ang nanakaw was $37 million lang naman. One employee equals around 1.961 billion pesos. Kaya mag-ingat tayo sa malware. Especially if your company can access around $37 million via your own internal systems. Ingat-ingat lang po tayo. Moving on to our next topic. Let's talk about how we can safeguard our information. So we have a few basic things that we need to check before clicking anything. So first is the URL. So this is the URL. On the first pass, we can already see if it's fake or not due to the spelling. Pero as mentioned earlier, most of the time, yung fake spelling, it won't be very obvious. So sa URL checking pa lang, kailangan vigilant na tayo. Another thing you can use to determine the security of the URL is the HTTP versus HTTPS. So, simply put, when you access a site with HTTP, it only means that the data sent to and from the site is not encrypted and can thus be intercepted. Pag makakita ka ng HTTPS, hindi ibig sabihin nun, protected na yung website. HTTPS only means protected via encryption. It does not automatically mean the site is legit. Kasi yung mga phishers, pwede rin silang bumili ng HTTPS or mag-install ng HTTPS para sa fake site pala. Ibig sabihin lang ng HTTPS is the data that we send and receive to and from the website are encrypted. So, hindi siya pwedeng ma-intercept. Yun lang yun. Kasi kapag na-intercept siya, ang tawag doon, man-in-the-middle interception attack. Pero we'll talk about that. We'll see more about that later. Next thing to check is the full domain name between the backslashes. So, if you see extra parts before the slash, like, for example, http://trustedwebsite.com.extra.part/. Ibig sabihin nun, you are not on trustedwebsite.com. Magkaiba ang domain na sila. In our example here, we are using Facebook. Para mas simple, let's use Facebook here as an example. Si Facebook ba, yung domain niya sa Philippines may .com.ph? Wala. So, ibig sabihin, if you see that, that's fake. So, maliit na bagay yun na may .com.ph, nag-iiba na yung website. Another thing is to always use only genuine OS and software from legitimate sources and then to make sure you update them regularly. For Mac and iOS users, this isn't much of a problem since super rare magkaroon ng tinatawag na crack or pirated or even fake apps with Mac and iOS sa App Store. But you have to make sure sa App Store mo talaga siya dina-download, hindi pwedeng sa website lang. Pero generally speaking, this is more for Windows and Android, etc. issue. For these users, whatever you do, make sure to also install a good, strong antivirus software. Next, let's talk about public Wi-Fi. As much as possible, try to avoid using public Wi-Fi, especially while using anything with your financial information. But in instances where you have little to no choice, for example, when you're traveling in other countries, you have to make sure you look out for the evil twin or a duplicate Wi-Fi network. So, this is how it works. Makikita mo yung may do you guess, dalawa siya. So, paano mo siya i-resolve ngayon? Unfortunately, it would be better to just not use public Wi-Fi in this scenario since you have a 50-50 chance of getting hacked. Kahit anong piliin mo dyan, medyo talo ka. Ang gusto natin is, ang piliin yung mga may, yung may lock. Yan, ibig sabihin hindi yan public Wi-Fi. When all else fails, use a trusted VPN provider like Nord or Express. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, but configuring it is out of our scope for today. But for the general overview, we can just watch this video.
People use public Wi-Fi all the time, at a coffee shop, in a hotel lobby, or while waiting at the airport. However, there are many security dangers that lurk on public Wi-Fi networks. Data sent through public Wi-Fi networks can easily be intercepted by cybercriminals. If you use a public Wi-Fi, your personal data could be at risk. A common danger is fake public Wi-Fi networks. These have similar sounding names to legitimate public Wi-Fi networks and are meant to trick and confuse you. Once you connect to this fake Wi-Fi network, everything you do online is monitored by cybercriminals who scan your activity for banking and social media login information. Public Wi-Fi connections can also be used to distribute malware. Cybercriminals can easily plant viruses and other malicious software onto your computer via an unsecure Wi-Fi connection, causing serious damage to your computer and jeopardizing your personal information. Luckily, there are ways to stay safe on public Wi-Fi. 1. Verify your connection. Be sure to ask an employee what the actual public Wi-Fi is to avoid connecting to a bogus network. 2. Avoid checking sensitive data. Unless it's absolutely necessary, hold off on logging into your social media, email, and especially financial accounts while on public Wi-Fi. 3. Turn off sharing. Be sure to turn off sharing while you're on public Wi-Fi. If you leave it on while in a public place, cybercriminals can easily gain access to sensitive personal information and files. 4. Use a VPN. If you need to check sensitive data like your banking account while on public Wi-Fi, use a virtual private network or a VPN. Even if a cybercriminal positions himself in the middle of your connection, your data will be strongly encrypted. 5. Turn your Wi-Fi off when you're done. Even if you haven't actively connected to a network, the Wi-Fi hardware in your computer can still be transmitting data with any network in range. If you are through using the internet, ensure that your Wi-Fi is turned off. Understanding public Wi-Fi risks will ensure your important data doesn't fall into malicious hands.
Last but not the least on our checklist is the old school way of attack, shoulder surfing either via physically or by way of CCTV. So be aware of your surroundings in public. This is an example of shoulder surfing. So to recap, we've already covered a lot of topics during this first part. First, there was the type of cyber attacks like malware, ransomware, and malware, phishing, spoofing, as well as best practices for emails that contain links. Then we also covered the checklist for safe browsing habits, particularly with URL scanning, as well as the use of public Wi-Fi. In the next part, we'll be talking about how you can secure your accounts, how you can deal with cyber incidents if it happens to you, and some FAQs we've compiled, as well as our question and answer portion. So internet tools and social media platforms offer a significant avenue for supercharging your real estate business. However, as we've seen so far, they can also expose you to cyber threats. Securing our accounts act as the last line of our cyber defenses. Let's talk about how we can do this better. Now, for some, you might be thinking, I can probably skip this part sa password management since I'm using a trustworthy password manager naman for all of my accounts. Like a really trusted one like LastPass or Password State or even Norton LifeLock. So we're safe here, easy peasy. And to that, I say, big danger. Check all of your accounts now na. Just last March 12, the Wall Street Journal published an article about the dangers of trusting these managers, commenting about the delayed response of LastPass during their hack last August 2022 pa. resulting to 33 million users' passwords being stolen by hackers. Forbes even outright said not to use LastPass na after the incident, making our lives a little bit harder. So, what are the takeaways here? And what can we do? First is to make sure the passwords you used aren't passwords, but rather passphrases. With passphrases, your security level goes a bit higher. So, it uses the same principles of a strong password naman eh. Usually, a strong password is a mix of these things. First is a mix of capital letters and small letters. Then you also mix up numbers and special characters like exclamation points, percentages, ampersands, etc. And finally, it has to be at least 8 characters long. So this is where a passphrase really shines. So instead of using your husband or wife's name and your anniversary date, which is the usual password, by the way, aside from password 1234, you can add something like .fb for Facebook, and it makes it slightly more secure. Ever so slightly, pero super slight lang. Pero, syempre, alam din niya ni hacker. So, try natin i-secure palalo. For Facebook, pwedeng writeyouarenow.fb. Bakit ganyan? Para na-spell out natin name ni husband, si Ryan, and unique sa atin yung phrase. Mas madaling matandaan, di ba? Pero, para ma-secure, gawin natin 0 yung O and exclamation point yung I. So, ayan. Mas-secure na siya ngayon. Eh, paano naman sa Gmail? If we do this, pag na-hack tayo sa isang account, madali na lang madama yung iba kasi naglagay tayo ng .gmail. So, ang gagawin lang nila, .bdo, patay. Pag-jackpot sila sa atin. So, paano na yun ngayon? Ang next step natin is to make sure yung passphrases natin unique per site or per app. So, balik tayo kay Sir Ryan. Let's say, okay na tayo sa Facebook password na to. For Gmail, di na natin pwede ulit si writeyouarenow. Baka pwedeng name naman ng anak natin sa Gmail. Tawagan natin siyang Boo. So, kahit makuha ng hackers yung info ng name ng anak natin na Boo, hindi nila mawalaan yung very, very unique passphrase na ginawa natin. Yan, bring it up Gmail. Parang BU pa din. Yan ang beauty of passphrases. Easy to remember and super duper unique. Next is 2FA. This video sums it up pretty well, so let's watch it again.
Passwords are everywhere. We use them to access our money, our communications, even our social lives. At first, we used one password for everything, but that wasn't good enough, so we started making our passwords even more complicated and began using password managers to organize the dozens or hundreds of the unique passwords we used. But no matter how complex our password system was, it was never enough to prevent account takeover, because all it took was one phishing email or database exploit, and your password was out in the world. So, if passwords are impossible to protect on their own, what do we do? That's where two-factor authentication comes in. Two-factor authentication, or 2FA, adds a second method of identity verification to secure your accounts. First, the thing you know, your password. Then, something unique that you have, like your phone or fingerprint. By combining your password with one of these factors, attackers can't access your account even if they have your password. The most common 2FA systems use a unique one-time code with every login attempt. This code is tied to your account and generated by a token, smartphone, or sent to you by text message. The more modern and most secure form of 2FA uses a mobile app to send an approval notification to your smartphone or smartwatch for the least hassle possible. With 95% of breaches involving account takeover, two-factor authentication is the most effective method of prevention. It's time for everybody, businesses, governments, and you, to take the easy and effective step of enabling two-factor authentication on all accounts.
Now, what I wanted to mention is that you can use something like Google Authenticator to manage your one-time PINs or OTPs for some apps, while other apps naman like Union Bank have their own way of sending you OTPs na for verification. The important part lang is try to set up two-factor authentication to your most important apps as much as you can. Caveat lang dito, syempre, if manakaw yung phone mo or nag-login ka sa Google account mo in a public computer, goodbye, passphrases. So the physical world is very important in protecting the digital one. And speaking of the physical world, another pro tip, this is the old school way of protecting passphrases, which is locking your notes. So it's not a literal locked notebook, but a notebook you can store in a place under lock and key, like sa home office or sa filing cabinet under your desk, basta safe. But please take note, I used home office because if nasa corporate office ka, you can't do this unless that office is something that only you have access to and that only you can open. So, despite our best efforts, breaches can occur. Knowing how to report incidents and deal with these breaches is crucial. If you've been cyber attacked in the office, once you've confirmed the attack, you have to do the following. First, notify your IT and management that there's been a breach. Next, work with IT to try to contain the incident and minimize damage. Then, investigate potential causes and the extent of breach. And finally, RRR, mahilig tayo sa kanyan. Report, recover, and review. You report to the customer if their data was compromised, to your stakeholders na nahack kayo, and finally to the National Bureau of Investigation's Cybercrime Division, the NBI. Then, recover from the incident by restoring systems and data, and when it's all over, review the incident and your response so you can improve future responses. So, si NBI, Cybercrime Division, maybe, hindi siya alam ng lahat, pero actually, they're pretty active. Just a few weeks ago, on August 3, they successfully raided a cyber scam operation in Pasay. They took down 650 people involved in cyber criminal activities. So, may hope naman na matulungan tayo ni NBI. And ako personally speaking, meron akong friends na natulungan ni NBI after a cyber scam. So, if it happens, we can always ask for help. We've reached the end of our topic, so let's cap off the discussion to the usual FAQs before we proceed with the questions in the live chat. So first question, how can I safely dispose of old devices? So kunwari, papamigay mo yung old device mo sa office mate or sa asawa or sa kaibigan. You always make sure that you reset the device to factory settings, and if possible, use a data destruction tool to ensure all your information is irretrievably deleted. Minsan kasi after mo i-factory reset, may potential na data na mas nandun pa rin sa device. Kaya kailangan mo talaga ng data destruction tool. Next question, how do I protect my client's data? Proper data management. So you limit who has access to the data, you back it up regularly, and you train everyone who has access in safe data handling practices. Another question, how do you know if a real estate platform is secure? So strong encryption with two-factor authentication and security certifications like vulnerability assessments, yan yung hahanapin nyo sa real estate platforms. Kaya ito naman yung nagpapatagal sa amin mag-launch kay Reelist8. Kasi we're making sure super duper secure siya. So shameless plug. But don't worry, we'll talk more about Reelist8 sa September 4. So watch out for that. Ito muna yung teaser video natin. Pagpasensyahan nyo na po, boses ko naman. Pero here we go.
Hello, I'm Maureen De La Cruz, co-founder and CEO of Reelist8, and I want to know, have you ever tried finding a new home or selling one? It's like navigating a giant maze with the big hairy spider at every turn. And that spider, my friends, is outdated information, illegal agents, slow manual processes, and listings platforms that get hacked. Well, what if I told you there's a solution that lets you say goodbye to the spiders and hello to your new home in just 8 clicks? Welcome to Real Estate, the next generation marketplace for everything real estate, connecting our verified buyers to their dream homes, home loans, furniture, and decor that match their vibe. It has fun reels, messaging and contracts management, and even calendar appointments, all in one super app that combines prop tech with shoppertainment. And for our brokers, you have so many listings already on file? With Real Estate, you can even upload your Excel files in bulk, and users will see your photos and videos immediately, making buying and selling properties as easy as ordering food online. So, you ready to join the future of real estate? Get your free account at Reelist8 today and scroll your way home with us at Reelist8.com.
So, ayan. Exciting, diba? Ayos ba? Abangan natin yan sa September 4. Okay, let's go back to our FAQs. What if clients send you sensitive data? So, ganun pa din dapat, proper data management. Don't store sensitive information in your email. Move it to a secure location and delete the email as soon as possible. How do I protect my social media accounts? So, madadaan yan sa regular updates and fixing your privacy settings. Also, you can use strong and unique passphrases, as we mentioned earlier, and then you set up two-factor authentication. And finally, you have to be cautious about the information you share publicly, kasi that would greatly secure your social media accounts. For example, sa photos that we send, kailangan aware din tayo na baka na-picture na pala natin yung passphrase natin sa background, hindi pa natin alam. And remember to always think before we click. Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure to do this. I'm Marian de la Cruz, and if you have any questions for cybersecurity and for our platform, you can reach me at the details found here, and you can also visit us at Reelist8.com. Again, this has been CyberSecured, your essential guide for licensed real estate professionals on securing our personal and professional digital lives. Thank you so much, and let's move on to the live question.